Welcome back, Alpha Strikers, for the review of Elseworlds that you've been waiting for, the super rares / chases, and we've also got the LE for your viewing pleasure. We did have to borrow a couple of figures for the chases. We want to do our shout-outs now. Who loaned us Robin?
So Robin was donated to us by Chris Hughes. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you.
And our Superman?
Superman Chase was donated to us by Aaron Crowder. We had to give him a huge shout out because this was a $100 piece we're hanging on to. Thank you, Aaron. Quick shout out to him. He does have his own YouTube channel. He does things around conventions. He likes to go to big events, Clix conventions, magic things, whatever. He'll go to his buddy, and they just interview people and get like stills of the place. And it's called BA Cons is the channel name. So
BA Cons.
Yeah, check them out and yeah. Give him a like.
And then Oliver Queen.
Oliver Queen came from Colin Wilson?
Colin Wilson.
I almost forgot his name. There's two Collins that are vending.
Yeah, Colin Olson and Colin Wilson. So we had to. That's Colin Wilson. Good buddy of ours. Plays a lot. Also, Elijah Snow. Super rare that we had to borrow.
Came from David Pounds. Also a good buddy of our venue. Thank you, David.
All right. And I think that sums up. Colin did loan us Green Lantern, the Zatara, but I managed to get hold of one of my own, so we were covered there. Randall did loan us an Al Jordan, but I did pull one. And then Charlie Swenson loaned us a Batman, but again, I did also pull one. So we appreciate those loans in advance. Those were loaned to us before we unboxed in case we didn't get it, so we made sure we had them on hand. Yes. But for once in a long time, we've got every figure in the set
every single one
review for you. So we're just going to get right to this. Eric, you're leading us off.
I got it. Number 37, The Flying Batman. Batman family, Gotham City, Kryptonian. Real name, Kal-El. This one does have EL. So that could be a typo, or it could be part of the storyline. We'll have to dig deeper into that and find out, because I've heard both. So he also has the From an Alternate Earth. We'll go ahead and cover this once for all characters with this trait. If this character is on your sideline, you may give a free action to a friendly character named Batman or Superman that's equal or more points. Replace that character with this character on the same click number. Now, the reason why they call him the Flying Batman is because they really wanted to either say Batman or Superman. If he was just Batman or Superman, it wouldn't work so well. It'd be kind of...
Well, if they just called him Batman, there could be other, like, the Green Lantern of Gotham that you could switch in.
Yeah, that too. They covered their own bases, and well done, WizKids.
Well job, yep.
Well job, yep. Don't make fun of my words. All right, so
it's so easy.
He is 140 points at top, 100 at a second point click, has 7 range, flight, indomitable, and standard symbols. His defense power, which he gets for the last 2 clicks of his dial, wow, is called Hero of Gotham. The Flying Batman can use defense and toughness with a whopping 18 defense without wit.
Woo! Just drop in next to somebody and be like, I am the Bat.
I am the Bat. And he does have both Batman ally and Superman ally, so he moves through, sees through, and hides in hindering all day long. This guy, I played against him in Sealed, trounced me. Hypersonic speed and 4 damage on that top click is just, it's too much. Like, figures in the set just take 4 damage, they're like, I'm dead. Or very close to dying.
Same happens when they take 6 damage, too.
Right. Who'd have thought, huh?
Zod.
Alright, so he does have hypersonic speed the first 3 clicks of his dial, 2 of which on the higher, 1 on the lower. 4 damage shape change on that 140. I love me some shape change. So if they are busting your stealth, they have to get through your shape change and you're invincible. This guy can take a hit. Is this Cal underneath? Yeah, it's Superman underneath. All right, I knew that. And then, of course, down from the lower point, 100 point, goes from hypersonic to charge, 11 attack, super strength with battle fury. So he's like, and your shape change isn't going to work for you. Sorry. And then also loses his range, of course. That's just fine. And then goes down to that defend and toughness. So all around good figure. I would play him on my Batman families all day long.
All right, up next, number 38, Colonel Wayne. Batman family, past soldier, real name Bruce Wayne for 75 points. Another great ID card call-in. Now, the one thing here is that you cannot call in Redbird until you're on clicks 3 and 4, so don't think you're bringing him in just because you called him in.
Yep.
High Noon trait. If Colonel Wayne is the last character with this trait to hit an opposing character with a ranged attack, until your next turn, if the hit character makes a ranged attack, Colonel Wayne must be one of his targets. Not to mention he has Batman ally. So I shot you from the shadows, and nope, you can't shoot me back.
It's like, I see you don't have any stealth busting there.
His special movement power that he has for his first 4 clicks, he can use running shot and ignores hindering and character bases for that. So I shoot you from the shadows, you charge me to base me, and I shape change out of it at that point, we'll say. Then I can just break base contact and hindering, run to another hindering square, and shoot you from there. High noon.
Batman's with shape change, man. That's
terrible.
Roadie.
Wow. And then, of course, his special attack power on clicks 3 and 4. Find my contact, Agent Redbird. Once per game, give Colonel Wayne a free action and place adjacent a Redbird bystander. This token is amazing. Yes, you cannot use Blades, Claws, Fangs, and Hypersonic Speed together, but you can hyper up 6 squares, have that combat reflexes with a 17 for 19 defense up close, exploit, which again you can't use the hypersonic, but on your next turn you could choose to push him or clear, and then follow up with a blades with an 11 and an exploit. I mean, dishing out
X damage, yeah.
6 damage penetrating from a Pog that has 19 defense. You guys saw this in my battle box against Daniel. I had to do something against that Redbird. Wow. Yeah.
The dice betrayed you.
They did, but I mean, amazingly deep dial. He falls into sidestep with willpower, perplex, leadership in the middle dial there, so he could actually be leadershiping the Redbird if he's still next to it. And starts with that shape change. I mean, 75 points. This Colonel Wayne is a must have.
He's great. As is this next one, Sergeant Kent, Kryptonian Past Soldier, number 39. So also has a high noon trait. Does not have stealth like Colonel Wayne. But
so, real quick, because I don't know my military so well, who's a higher rank, Colonel or Sergeant?
I honestly couldn't say.
That'll be our question for this episode. What's higher rank, Colonel or Sergeant? Who's better?
We're sorry, guys.
Who's in charge? Batman or Superman?
But his name is Atticus Kent.
Oh.
So no calling on this guy.
Ah, man.
But he does have high noon, which Mike covered. And then he also has another trait called I'll take the bullets for the boys. Sergeant Kent can use defend. Opposing characters can't ignore Sergeant Kent for line of fire purposes. If you so fear that Nick Fury out there, you can go ahead and for only 100 points,
only a hundo,
throw an 18 defend, 18 defense with invincible. So the penetrating damage Nick Fury does will not come into play here in front of your bigger piece if you're playing one.
Nick Fury can just say, you can't use invincible.
This is true.
Kryptonite bullet.
But it's supposed to be protecting your other piece that Nick really wants to shoot.
Yeah.
Like Jakeem Thunder. Because
that's a team.
What, 240? Some room there to play, I guess. Ooh. But yeah, just that option is there. I do like trade defend. It comes really great. He never has lower than 18 defense. It's a 5-click dial, but always has 18 defense with either invincible or impervious. Can be outwit. He is susceptible to outwit. Does have charge, super strength with enhancement, the whole dial, so he's helping your shooters shoot better.
Necron the Bat God to give him stealth so you can't outwit him.
Sure.
That's 200 points to your team. You got 100 points to fill.
He also has mid-dial Pulse Wave for some random reason with no movement attack power, just, and your base me, Pulse Wave. And then later he gets Hypersonic 9 attack, 18, 2 damage enhancement.
I don't know, that Pulse Wave seems really counterintuitive. If I've got 18 defend and I'm relying on that,
yep.
And then I'm going to Pulse Wave, I'm going to hit all my friendlies for 1.
But it's only a 4 range, it's only 2. Imagine if they come in and quake you far enough back where you can move away from your own guy and say, hey, radiate.
So they quake everybody else back because he starts with charge, he wouldn't go anywhere.
No, he would stay right where he's at.
Oh, okay, I could see that. If they push everybody else back and he's there and he's like, okay.
Boom. It shows off his Krypton radiation, which I think is kind of neato. So
that's cool. All right, number 40, Al Jordan. Green Lantern Corps, mystical past ruler. Real name, wait for it, Al Jordan.
Not Hal Jordan, not to be confused. You can't call him in.
This is Al Jordan. Special trait, Genie of the Lamp. Give Al Jordan a free action. Choose a standard power and choose among the flight symbol, the dolphin symbol or swim symbol, the giant size symbol, or the tiny symbol. Al Jordan can use the chosen power and the chosen symbol until your next turn. So pick a power, any power, pick a combat symbol of one of those 4, and you've got that as long as you need it, or until your next turn, which then free action you pick again.
Yep.
For 90 points. His special damage power he has for his first 3 clicks, he can use Perplex, so that's one you don't have to pick. If he uses this Perplex to modify the same character and the same value during your last turn, he can modify it by +2 or -2 instead. Now, again, this is going to be one of those things that I'm expecting to see a ruling that, from my understanding the way this is worded, the first turn that I perplex, say I'm perplexing attack, it would go by 1, and then I perplex it the second turn, it would go by 2. If I perplex it the third turn, it would still also go by 2, and I can continue to keep that at 2. And the flavor text on this is 1001 Nights of Stories.
Just keep them going.
Just keep talking their ear off. Sidestep for 4 clicks of his dial starts with ESD and 18 defense, drops to 18 defense with barrier, and finishes out with phase teleport and regen. So if they're going to thump him, they thump him down, and then you run away and hide somewhere and regen up.
Bring it back.
He does have willpower and 7 range, so he's no slouch. You know, he may be a good solid support piece, but he's got a good shot in there if he needs it. I mean, you can pick range combat expert, do a 12 and 3.
Right.
I don't know. He's feels in comparison to the double pick of power characters we have, he feels very Diet Coke.
So
he's only 90 points.
Let me share a scenario I heard on another podcast. I'm gonna say I think it was Dial H for Heroclix, or it could be Tulix from KO. I can't remember who said it.
Credit where credit is due.
Credit is due. Credit is due. They mentioned you play him with Jakeem, which is a lot of points, but you make him giant.
Okay.
He sidestep carries Jakeem.
Okay.
Make him tiny. Jakeem carries him. Sidestep.
Leave
Pick a power, and then you go perplex, his damage or attack that you need.
As you're rolling up.
And then go for 6 damage or 13 attack.
You could also do that with Deadpool, title Deadpool.
Right.
Because you could just keep him perplexed, and then by the time you get sidestepped up there, you got your slow-mo bullet time, and that goes off. That's...
Yeah. There's options, guys.
It's a wind-up, though.
With him being able to go big or small, him being able to be carried or carry somebody is going to be huge. So, symbols are symbols, but you'll mostly change his damage symbol a lot. So, but he can pick, what is it, Indom?
Flight, swim,
he has Indom.
giant. Yeah, he's got Indom.
Oh, he's good then.
So you can pick flight, swim, giant size, or tiny size.
So yeah, nothing too crazy. The flight's whatever, but he has a lot of versatility. Guys.
Tiny size, that'll give him +1 to his defense, so he's rocking a 21 in
21.
range. I can see him being small the majority of the time.
Which is not bad. A pocket perplex 2 that you can just carry around with you.
And prob.
You can pick prob or whatever. Prob or
For 90
enhancement.
points, though.
Whatever you want. I know he's going to be like a second string attacker with support powers basically, because in 10-3 is not in the shake at. You said sidestep RCE could be 10-5 or 11-4. All right, moving on, guys. Number 41, Sinestro. Gotham City Underworld, Green Lantern cores, and Sinestro core. I like that he has both of those. It's very, very interesting.
No, he's the cross of the two. He's Joker and Sinestro together.
I know, but why Green Lantern?
Because Sinestro was originally on the Green Lantern
That's
Corps.
right, he was a Green Lantern. Thank you. All right, so real name, Thal Sinestro. From an alternate Earth, his does take from either the Joker or Sinestro of equal or higher points.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, the convention-exclusive Sinestro, the Colossal, you could swap him in if you were playing it at a high enough point value.
Yes.
Because it doesn't say a standard character, it just says a character named Sinestro.
Yeah, I mean, sure, if your Colossal Sinestro is playing at a higher point but taking a lot of damage, and somewhere in that dial this is better, but remember, he's going to have a lot bigger dial than this one will, so it really depends on what you need. This one has the first two, the second and third click have running shot pulse wave.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen the gigantic ones dial enough to memorize it.
We also have the OP Sinestro from the...
Right, who isn't bad, actually.
He hands out what, invulnerable?
ESD?
No, I thought it was invulnerable.
I thought it was ESD.
I don't know, we'll have to look at it.
It's been a while, guys. Sorry. Remembering things off my head with no, guide is awkward. But hey, that's cool. He also replaces the 140-point Joker, the one...
Killing Joke?
Killing Joker, yep, as well. And if you're feeling so crazy, the 250 point power cosmic quintessent, well, quintessent one
Yeah.
from World's Finest. But he has a trait called Hero of Chord. Sinestro can use Perplex, but only to decrease combat values. I love how they're keeping a lot of those traits and powers from the.
War of Light.
Thank you. Wow, my brain's just mush now all of a sudden. But yeah, War of Light set. I like how they're keeping all those powers around. He has a damage power for the first 2, and then the fourth click on his first on his lower click of 80 points, called Ultimate Nemesis. Opposing characters of the Batman family, Gotham City, or Green Lantern Corps keyword modify their attack by -1. If they target Sinestro, modify their attack by an additional -1. So already, blanket to all not Krypton, Green Lantern Corps, Batman Fam, and Gotham City keywords -1. And if they all target him, extra -1. He's rocking 18, 17s, and 16s ESD the whole dial.
I think you skipped the attack power.
I did. I'll get to that.
Okay.
The attack power is called Hero of the Core. Sinestro can use Pulse Wave and has the Green Lantern team ability. So for the first, only look on his whole dial, he has that Green Lantern Core team ability with Running Shot Pulse Wave 4 damage with that Ultimate Nemesis power at 140 points. This guy's a monster at 140. All that Pulse Wave, they're giving out a lot more Pulse Wave now, it seems like.
I did get the chance to claim his lower point value. He's very supporty at the point, and he did win the game for me with a dual target mind control. But you hit him once, he's done.
Yeah, only having one click reducer and then just ESD. If they're punching you, you're gonna go down like a squishy potato.
And there's not a lot of either wild card or Batman enemy in
this set.
So,
but if you want to play with some of the figures from Joker's Wild and or ones coming forward in the Harley Quinn set, this
having
would be
11s,
better.
on 3 different clicks, that's really helpful to those guys. So.
Right. So not too shabby. Plus, he keeps perplexes down to help them attack harder. And if they have those keywords, you're playing a fancy
Batman team
thematic game where you're playing Batman versus you. I think you have an obvious advantage there, but I don't know. 80 points. He's a good support TKer with that perplex and the -1 to Batman and stuff like that. But he's okay. I like him.
All right. Up next, number 42, the much anticipated Green Lantern. Real name unknown, possibly Lois Lane or Zatanna Zatara. This is supposed to be I've heard it referred to as the Tangent
Green Lantern.
Green Lantern. I prefer to refer to it as the Zatanna or the Zatara Green Lantern, just because it may say it might be Lois Lane, but I really feel just with that power that it's probably Zatanna. Keyword mystical. That's it.
Not so that's bad.
45 points. You are not getting an attacker. She's got 0 attack and 0 damage. Roll a crit hit to do 1 damage. That's what you're getting there if you're going to attempt that. Here we go. The book and wall of text is there on the screen for you to follow along. I will try and cover this as clearly and as accurately as possible. One last earthly mission. When another friendly character is KO'd, place a resurrection marker in the square they last occupied. Period. Give Green Lantern a free action when she is adjacent to a resurrection marker, comma. You may choose the name of a friendly character with a point value of 10 or more points that has been KO'd and hasn't yet been chosen this game, period. Replace the resurrection marker with a KO'd friendly character with that name and give Green Lantern an action token if possible, period. Turn the KO'd character to any click it could have been on this game, period. At the beginning of your next turn, remove that character from the game, but don't score it. So, basically, we'll just kind of break this down. One of your characters dies on your force, put a resurrection marker on the board. It stays there until you use it. She has phase teleport with 12, 11, and 10, so she can phase all the way out to wherever that marker is, take an action token for moving, give her a free action, and then bring a character back from your sideline or your force that's been KO'd that you haven't brought back this game.
And it has to be on a click it could have been on.
Right, so no bringing in your Colossal Retail at 35 points on its top dial.
Yes.
That's not going to happen. No. But characters like Hellcow, who
Yes.
are vampire, they could have been on click 1. So you bring in that vampire dial and its top dial, have a hypersonic out, do some damage, and then disappear on your next turn.
And it does say could have been, not have been on that dial, right?
Yep, it says could have been on this game.
All right, good.
So
That's pretty baller.
Vampires are pretty awesome
Vampires
with
are
this.
good there.
And she does have willpower hold dial, so yeah, after you bring them back, you have to assign that second action token. But you could also, if she had an action token, push her to move out there, take that free action,
And not get a token.
and not get a token because she can't be given one.
Colin was reading that to me, and he was like, "Huh? What?"
But the implications of this character are amazing. Vampire dials, colossal retiles, your big heavy beater who is out there and wrecked half the game, they just get one more shot in there.
The Shredders, who already have a dial and a half, give them a third play. If you guys want to, Aaron Cantu of Tools from KO, he wrote an article on this figure. If you can find it on his Facebook page, check that out. Oh my gosh, he did a good job. He was really excited for this figure, and I can see why now. She has potential.
So one thing that I'm noticing here, I'm not showing anything that says they can't be replaced. So if you brought back a shifting focus character, it could shifting focus over to whatever it needed to be on.
I mean, I don't see why not, because it doesn't say they were replaced.
Or
That's
if
probably a
you
really
bring
good
back
looking-
a character like, we'll say, 100-point Punisher from the Fast Forces, and you just need that Punisher of the Strange for a hot second, you could replace that out if it was already in your build. There's a lot of possibilities here, but keep in mind, it is for one turn, and it has been officially ruled that if when you bring that character back, and then it's KO'd, your opponent scores it again.
But not for the effect of it leaving on its own from the trait.
At the beginning of your next turn, when it leaves, they don't score it. They would score it if they kill it. So think of it like an ID card. You brought them back from the dead. They're on the board for one turn. If they get KO'd before the beginning of your next turn, your opponent scores that again.
Right.
So keep that in mind. That could be...
And all game effects transfer from replaced characters. The same would affect if you were to replace it to the next character. So like say if that's a character, is that character with the KO or whatever at the beginning of the next turn, if you replace it, all game effects that affect a replaced character apply to that character as well. So yeah, that would be a thing.
So I'm looking forward to using her. I would expect to see her in the meta circuit. This newfound ability, this wall of text, is going to be something that is quite amazing. And just because I'm an Overwatch fan, that I could see being placed on a Mercy if there were ever Heroclix for Overwatch in the future, because that's essentially what that is.
Yeah. As like, but it'd be like on her like, I don't know, once per game trait or something like that for like 3 characters.
Or every character within 4 squares, you know. Just,
That's been like KO.
every resurrection
Yeah.
marker within 4 squares.
We'll see. My go.
Yep.
All right. So next super we have here is Leatherwing, number 43, Pest and Pirate. All right. So he has a real name Bruce Wayne, so you can call him his ID character, but with his trait called Captain of the Flying Fox, at the beginning of the game, place adjacent a Robin Redblade bystander. Leatherwing can use the carry ability to carry up to 4 characters with pirate keyword. This cannot trigger off his ID card because it says at the beginning again.
Game.
They are getting good at that wording to keep bystanders off of ID cards. I'm kind of okay with it because they're trying to encourage you to play these figures in your force. Say, hey, this is a good figure. Just try it out. You don't need to call it in. But he's only 80 points, has 5 range, 2
Let's be
bolts.
honest. Doing an ID card call in and getting a permanent pog on the board, that's just kind of busted.
Well, I mean, we've had Nightwing do it. We've had
Thor do it.
There's been a few people just make pog and say, I got to keep this now because nothing's attached to it. So yeah, it's been something like, okay, we got to adjust a little bit on that, and that's fine. We're okay with that. He has a speed power on the first 2 clicks of his dial called Down from the Rigging and Across the Deck. Leatherwing can use Leap Climb and Sidestep. When Leatherwing uses Leap Climb and moves half his speed value or less, after actions resolve, he may make a range attack. So this is very important because he can't do close attacks. You would really hope that he could be able to jump in and punch you because he has 11 attack with Range Combat Expert, but he can't use Range Combat Expert with the Leap Climb either.
But he can still energy explosion until new rules.
This is it's still 2 bullets in that either way, but yeah.
But with the new rules,
New rules, it comes in action.
Yeah,
It seems like he's losing some power with the new rules, unfortunately, but I like and dislike how they keep making Leap Climb a move and attack power with a special power. Like, I know they want to change it, but they can't.
I'm just gonna say it again. Make it so you can leap climb and knock back every adjacent character
For
one
one
square.
square.
And just
And
make it a disruption thing.
yeah, even if it ignored everyone's like reflexes and charge, say hey, impact one.
Yeah, I mean, you think about the Hulk. He leap climbs in, he lands. You've got that splash impact. Spider-Man leap climbs at somebody, double boot kicks him.
Double boot kicks them. Yeah.
Maybe not do any damage, but knocks him back one square. You can knock people out of stealth. You can knock people off buildings.
Right.
Disrupt. I mean, it would make leap climb really worth it.
So yeah, take it to the bank. We'll see what happens. But hey, it's cool. On his last 4 clicks, 3 through 6, you guys see there, Leatherwing can use Blades Claw's Fangs and Smoke Cloud. When he uses Blades Claw's Fangs, after action resolve, he can use Smoke Cloud as a free action. So once again, I really wish they had flipped these powers around. With Luke can give him a close attack instead of a range attack. Honestly, I would have preferred the sidestep RCE with range combat. I mean, energy explosion, because I can go one target for a lot of damage or all of you for 2.
Mm-hmm.
I just see more potential there, but he is a pirate, so he's not organized. I kind of get that. So,
Ninjas forever.
other than that, though, guys, he's pretty decent for his 80-point clicks. Let's go ahead and go over Robin Redblade. You do get him at the beginning of the game. If you play him, you get a stealth, 10 attack with blades, 16 defense with toughness, and a perplex. So you are going to give this Batman at least +1 to damage or attack or range if you feel the need to do so.
That's pretty nasty with that RCE top dial. That's +3 damage with an 11 attack already.
Right. You're going to do some major damage for sure if you feel the gumption to do so. Your turn.
All right, this is a figure that I anticipate will hit the meta circuit like wildfire.
This is Mike's predictions right here. We'll see.
Um,
People aren't seeing it yet, but he sees something they don't.
I haven't had a chance to play her, but I do also have this very strong inclination she's going to hit the recruits, the militia.
With how good support's going to be, yes, I will agree.
So we've got number 44, Diana Prince. Amazon Justice League detective scientist, real name Diana Prince. Now, this figure was previewed on WizKid's page. And, when I first looked at it, I said, I didn't really think about it very much. For 40 points, she's got 5 clicks of life, and she has a trait, investigating planetary. Opposing characters within 4 squares and line of fire can't use outwit or perplex. So this, right now, is pretty nice because as soon as they're within 4, they can't use it. They can use it from outside and still have it take effect. But in the new rules, can't use is the same as outwit.
Yep.
So,
Well, kind of. Can't use is actually better than outwit. Remember, because protect outwit doesn't apply to can't use. This is actually stronger.
But because there's no more counter, what I'm saying is when you countered a power, it made it go away.
Right.
Can't use made it so that even if you had used it before, the effect still lasts.
Right.
Now, with possess going away, saying can't use is saying the same thing as countered. So as soon as I walk up next to you, any perplex or outwit that you have used would go away. That's an assumption. I'd like to hear clarification on that from the new rules. But just from that alone, I see this being an amazing call-in with Wonder Woman next to a Jakeem that, oh, you've been outwitted and your outwitter's within 4 squares, boop, you get your power back.
Right. Yep.
You even perplex. Oh, you perplex me down? In she comes. 5 points.
What's really gross is like Bizarro Green Arrow can call her in.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
All those Bizarros. I mean, for 40 points, just about any character in the game can call her in.
Yep.
Okay, so then she starts with stealth and combat reflexes. So you put her in hindering terrain. They're going to have to be facing down a 19 up close. Unless they bust stealth, they can't shoot her. And her special damage power is close combat expert and support. So you can be hiding, healing people, and if they come up and base you, oh, I've got close combat expert. I can go up to a 12 and 2 or a 10 and 4 or an 11 and 3 because you're basing me with my 19 defense.
Right.
This is just the culmination of everything I like to see in a close combat piece. You can't shoot me unless you can bust stealth. I've got great defense up close, and then I've got boost my damage and my attack when I'm punching you. And then if you're not anywhere around, I'm a support battery with 10 attack for all of my friendlies.
Yep.
I mean, wow. On top of, if you get within 4 squares of me, you can't perplex or outwit. And I'm a 40-point ID card call-in. Okay? This is just the tip of the iceberg, guys.
There's so much more here. If you even play the figure, those last, 2 clicks she has? Those last 2 are amazing.
So, they finally hit you. You take a good solid hit. Now, she's mad. Charge. Special attack power. She can use Blades, Claws, Fangs. Period. Give her a close combat action to make a close attack targeting each opposing character within 2 squares and line of fire. Just a real quick synergy here. Charge. Take that close combat action to make a close attack with each opposing character within 2 squares and line of fire. And because you're taking close combat action, you can use Blades, Claws, Fangs during that action. So now you're doing Blades, Claws, Fangs to each opposing character within 2 squares and line of fire off of a charge.
She throws swords at everybody's face.
She charges in and just blades everybody. Now, I'd be curious to see if that damage is going to be divided amongst them. Because you're hitting each character. Usually when you're targeting multiple people, you have to
There's always
your
that
damage.
weird rule, yeah.
Usually they say instead of normal damage. So I'm looking forward to clarification, but as I'm reading this right now, and similar to Elektra, which again, her wording is a little bit differently.
Because she attacks everyone separately.
Right.
Yeah.
So it may just be I roll a 6 and I do blades to everybody, or if I roll a 5, I could do 2 and 3. But it's a close combat attack. Again, this goes back to the Fast Forces Batman from Batman and His Greatest Foes, that attacking with his hands and his feet, he does damage to everybody.
And his says 3 instead of
normal damage.
Yeah, something like that.
So I'm really curious to see how that's going to play out. But given with just how I'm reading it, that's insane.
Yeah.
This figure for 40 points, I don't understand why right now in the market she's about $10. I don't understand why people aren't charging 20, maybe 30 for, because she's going to hit the meta circuit. So yeah, this Diana Prince, I think, is going to be something amazing. I could be wrong. I've been wrong in the past, but I've actually been right more often than not. Enough so that I can coin the phrase Mike Needle was right.
Yes, you may. All right.
On to the next one, Erks.
So, I believe this is another super rare that everyone's been itching for. King Aquaman! Kingdom Come Aquaman, number 45. Atlantis, Future, and Ruler. So, his name is Arthur Curry. So, yes, you can use the Aquaman ID card to bring him in at his higher point dial of 110.
It's not bad.
If you still need a charge 9 with 12 attack, 18 4 damage exploit, because who doesn't want that? Who ignores water terrain?
Who can't be modified.
Right.
Or outwitted.
Yeah. So he has the Isolated from this Violent World at 20 points. King Aquaman begins the game, placed at least 6 squares from any starting area, and not adjacent to another character while on click number 11. He can't be moved or replaced when he is the only character on your force or an opposing character. Critical hits another friendly character, you may turn him to click number 6, and he can't be healed for the rest of the game. That's basically that, so he's basically on the board 6 squares out doing this thing. So he has his ability on his last click, the one way out there, 18 invulnerability on click 11. It says, I have responsibilities you cannot even dream of.
How many parents have said that to their children?
So many. At the beginning of your turn, you may place a water terrain marker in any square of clear terrain within 8 squares. Give King Aquaman a free action and choose an opposing character that occupies water terrain within 8 squares. Place that character into an adjacent square. Now, this has been ruled officially by WizKids Info Network on the rules forum that it is intended to be 1 square next to the square they were currently in. So what it's supposed to do is disrupt placements. You can go water,
Bounce you out of the water.
under some person, and throw you out of the water. It's kind of funny. And it does not say that only that marker. You can do any water terrain. So if you're on a water map, you can start just boop, boop, boop.
Hey, Hydra Man, get out of there.
Seriously, move a square to your water terrain. So that's kind of what he does, guys. Pretty self-explanatory there. And then it was also ruled in the last video, like the Ray, he does not get this trait while at 20 points, saying we will make things right again, which is King Aquaman's combat values can only be modified by powers or abilities from characters with a KC team ability. King Aquaman's powers and abilities can only be countered by powers or abilities from characters with KC. So just so you guys know. His dial is pretty self-explanatory. Charge, 12 attack, 4 damage, as I said before, with willpower. Goes down into charge super strength with 4 damage. I had 4 damage though. Toughness, the rest of the dial with sidestep, and then blades and exploit. Just your generic, I'm going to punch you to death and stab you to death, as Aquaman normally would.
All right, last super rare in the set. Again, a much anticipated character, though we do need to make sure we're reading everything here correctly. He's still very good, but not as good as he possibly could be if the words are read incorrectly.
Yes.
Number 46, Elijah Snow, Planetary Detective Past. Real name, wait for it, Elijah Snow. No originality in these villains. They just... trait, The Big Freeze. Once per game, give Elijah Snow a free action. For the rest of the game, while Elijah Snow is on the map, other characters that can't use the flight ability can only move in a direct path. So he freezes the ground, everything is ice, and everybody goes ice skating in direct lines unless you can fly and don't have to touch the ground.
Right.
Second trait, give Elijah Snow a free action and choose one that hasn't been chosen yet this game. So he gets each of these once per game. Power, close combat, range combat, or move. Until your next turn, when an opposing character is given an action of the chosen type, after action is resolved, give that character an action token. If you can't, deal them 1 unavoidable damage. So the talk here is that trait 1 is Danny the Street, that you can turn any map into Danny the Street. And trait number 2 is Diet Coke Faust.
Basically.
So he's not all of one or the other. He's half of each, but at the same time, even combined, he's still only about half as powerful as one or the other.
Because flyers still can move about freely. We did joke about a Golden Age game playing with Shaman.
Yeah, nobody can fly.
Iron Man. Yeah, but that's a Golden Age.
And then his special damage power he has on his first 3 clicks on his higher point value of 120, he also has a lower point value of 70, is Planetary Archaeologist of the Impossible. Once per turn, Elijah Snow can use either Outwit or Perplex. So, planetary theme team. Everybody either gets Outwit or Perplex once per turn. You could do Elijah Snow at 120, and then Jaquita at 80, and then 2 drummers to come out at 280.
Because why not?
Why not? It's pretty impressive. Or... There's no unique ring here. You could do Elijah Snow and Jaquita and Elijah Snow and Jaquita and just have 300 points of planetary.
Ew. People who play Highlander must hate you, Mike.
You know. Hey, if you're going to limit yourself to a rule that doesn't actually exist in the game, that's fine. That's a handicap. That's exactly what you're doing to yourself there.
Yep.
But when you hit the meta scene, man, you have to be all in. You can't limit yourself. You have to just do what you need to do to win. And if that's playing 3 of the same character, just do it.
Go for it.
But overall, and his higher point value, so he's got 8 range and 3 bolts. Starts with sidestep and in cap with 11 attack. That's beautiful. With 18 defense, barrier, and indom with outwit or perplex. I mean, for 120 points, thank you. Oh, and I get the traits too? Okay.
So with the traits, kind of divulging on those a little bit, they're very planned. You have to kind of anticipate what your opponent's going to do on his next turn. So you can say, okay, well, I see you have an overdrive. I'm going to say move.
Or you have a bunch of shredders. I'm going to say move. Because that's what you're going to do.
It's like, oh, I see you have a 10 range hypersonic or running shot. Power?
Yep. Or range combat.
Right.
Or, oh, you're based to all my people? We're going to go with close combat.
Close, yeah.
Or you've got all charged people? Yeah, we're going to go close combat. Or even power, because you have charge with everybody.
Right. So when using these powers, guys, if you get access to this tool belt here, you got to look at the scenario and say, well, I only get this once per turn. What's a vital turn? Because when you're playing a 300-point big tournament, you're going to be like, okay, every turn matters. Every decision matters. I see this happening. That one. And then they're going to do a different thing or pass altogether. And you save yourself a turn to not die.
So even with his 120 point value being really amazing in my opinion,
right?
70 point is probably where we're going to see him played because he does start with running shot, pulse wave, 17 defense, barrier, 3 damage, leadership. But his second click feels like it's even better because he loses barrier and goes to ESD, and his damage goes up by 1. So you can get that 4 damage single target pulse wave at 4 range because he's at 8, and just really start dishing out the damage.
Right.
But then he drops into phase teleport, ESD, leadership, and then phase teleport, regen, and leadership. But I mean, 4 damage the rest of his dial. He's not going away from that. But I mean, really, when you look at this with his special damage power, he's only got 1 click that he's got 3 damage because you can pick perplex at any time.
Right.
The only thing that I'm worried about with that 70 points, no damage reducers.
He can get glassed.
Hey, for 4 clicks, you thump me for 5, I'm done.
But if you play Peace Machine, you can get a left click and regen back up. And with new rules, 1, 2, 3, if you roll a 5 or 6, you're back on top.
That's a thing. That could definitely be a strategy.
50 and 70, 120 points, do something like that.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Not terrible.
120, still got 180 was worth room.
Yep.
All right, guys, that has been the super rares. We're going to go ahead and move right into the chases and then follow it up with the LE in total. Go ahead and start us off there.
I have the man himself, the Batman. At number 47, he has Batman Family, Gotham City, and Future, as applicable to the storyline, Future Batman. So, this is all from Dark Knight Returns. I always try and say Dark Knight Rises because it's the same initials, but it's not that Batman.
DKR.
So, Bruce Wayne here can be called in as an option for a 100-point Batman.
Woof.
He has the trait called the Dark Knight Returns, we've always been criminals. When Batman occupies clear terrain and is given a non-free action, after actions resolve, you may place him in a printed hindering terrain within 4 squares and line of fire. So you're looking at his 8-speed charge. He can basically, from not printed hindering, move out, attack you, and then if there's hindering within the area, boop,
Jump into the hindering terrain.
jump in the hindering terrain. So he's hiding again. So Batman-like. He also has a damage power on the first 3 clicks of his dial. Striking Terror, best part of the job. Batman can use Outwit and Shape Change. Batman with Shape Change, dude. I love it. I love it so much. Yes.
I can just see that. They run up to punch him and he just goes, boo!
It's like, not punching that guy. He also has a great dial here. So people have been saying he's kind of like the least fun of the new chases. But hey, some people like Batman. This is a pretty gnarly Batman dial.
I think it's because he's really straightforward. When we look at the other chases, you've got all this verbiage and all this outside the normal PAC powers, and he's just really kind of straightforward PAC, other than that trait of being able to run in and then jump into the shadows.
And then the Shape Change Outwit special power, which is only a couple powers.
Yeah, it's just 2 powers together. But I mean, he's just straightforward Batman.
The only thing I would criticize, for me, I'd want 1 click of invulnerable on that top click.
He is wearing pretty heavily armored stuff there.
I know he's an old guy in that old suit, but he is supposed to take a hit from Superman. I think the invul would have definitely shown that better. But that's just me than the toughness. But he does have an amazing 12 and 11s, the entire dial, never below an 11. That's something you don't see on a dial very often anymore. 17, 16 with reflexes toward the end there, and 1 click of regen Outwit, so he can come back up to, with new rules, click number 4 with Flurry, Precision, 17 Outwit with 3 damage. Not too bad, not too bad. Does have size up to the end as well with Close Combat Expert. All in all, I think he's a great Batman. Something if you're a huge Dark Knight Returns fan, you're going to want this piece for your collection, period.
So some other things that I was looking at with this is with that the Dark Knight Returns, we've always been criminals. So if you regen him up to that flurry and he's out in the open, after actions resolve, when you give him non-free action, he can just jump into the hindering. Now you're back in the hindering with your stealth, your outwit, and your combat reflexes. They're going to have to run over and get you, and guess what you got waiting for him? Flurry with 11 with Precision Strike, as well as, this could potentially really get you in the fight because it's within 4 squares. So you run up 8, make sure you have a hindering square that's 4 more squares away. So you basically got a movement of 12 that you run and then jump, and he ignores hindering train for movement purposes. So next turn, you come barreling out of that hindering train to charge in and do, out with their defense and then punch them for 3, or shoot them for 5 range from the shadows with Precision Strike. I mean, he's got a lot of utility. He looks bland, but I really think his power level is a lot higher than a lot of people are giving him credit for.
And ID card, he can poof himself away if you do it right.
That's right. Oh, I've shot you. Hey, look, there's hindering train 4 squares over that away.
Hey, where'd he go?
And back into the shadows. We've always been criminals. All right. Up next, number 48, Robin. This figure has been much talked about, and we're gonna cover it all. Number 48, Robin, Batman Family, Gotham City Future. Real name, Carrie Kelly, so we're not getting a call-in off of a Nightwing ID card. We didn't get a Robin ID card. Hopefully, if they're following the pattern here, we'll get X-Men First Class and we'll get Teen Titans Teen Titan ID cards would be amazing.
We're going to say it right here on live now.
I'm going to throw
Teen
that out.
Titans set. Go ahead.
I'm going to throw that out there for you, WizKids. Take it. I completely disown it. Forget that I ever had anything to do with it. Just take it, run with it, have a good time. On video, completely documented. I disown that idea completely.
And what's really great about that, too, is they could do, I've heard talk of them doing both student IDs and still Avengers IDs because of Wolverine being an X-Man or Rogue and the new Uncanny. They could mix and match the faceplates on the card. It's probably not hard for them, but same it probably won't. But hey.
Anyway, digressing.
Cool.
Coming back to the Robin figure, trait, computer classes, duh. At the beginning of the game, place adjacent either a Bat Cycle or a Batwing bystander. When that bystander is KO'd, after action resolve, place the other bystander adjacent. Now, this has been officially ruled, or I've heard that it's been officially ruled, that you get one, and then the other, and then they're done. You don't get to keep generating Bat Cycles and Batwings, even though Bruce Wayne has enough money, it should probably happen that way. But you get one, and then the other, and it's done. She also has the trait, The Dark Knight Returns. Get seen, and you're fired. You're fired. When Robin occupies clear terrain, she can use Shape Change, which is awesome. When she occupies hindering terrain, she can use Perplex, but only to target another character occupying hindering terrain. So they really wanted you to run her with Batman because she runs out and hides in the shadows, and then he runs out and hides in the shadows, and then she can Perplex him 6 squares away when he runs out and goes and gets somebody.
Yep.
On top of, you could have, the Bat Cycle or the Batwing, help him out, move him around, give him some buffs. There's a lot of synergy there that can happen.
I still always argue why Batman has Robin and gives him a jumpsuit that's orange, yellow, and green. Like, how is that being stealthy at all?
Oh, man.
Like, I get Nightwing when he grew up, he had the blue and black suit, because he's like, yeah, I can be way more stealthy in this, but why?
It was training. It's the difficulty mode 10. Okay, I get to wear black and gray and hide in the shadows. You get to wear bright neon colors.
And if you're seen,
and if they see you, you're fired. So try really, really hard.
I'm sorry, it just gets me every time.
So anyway,
go on.
She's got leap, climb, precision strike, combat reflexes. Support drops into enhancement, has the Batman TA, so you can put her in hindering, has really great defensive capabilities, 3 range, really just terrible values for attack though. And then support, which I'm glad to see the support for 45 and the vehicles that go along with it, but at the same time, I've got a 9 attack. How am I going to hit like a 16, 17 with a 9?
Especially with the rules for Vehicle Pilot where you have to take her range, her attack, and her damage, and then pick a power, which I'll just give you precision strike and or support.
Right. So, I mean, I think you can choose to replace the
I think it's printed. It's printed powers on the Vehicle Pilot thing.
Yeah, it's printed powers, but as far as the values, because I don't see the point of having Batwing with 0 attack and 3 damage if I have to replace it with both 9 and 1.
You have to take all 3 values. You can't just not take 1 or 2. I know. It's bad. I don't understand it either.
Oh, there was the point that people made that the vehicles could break objects and break terrain. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we've been piecing a lot of this together.
Which autopilot they don't have. So how do they get it anyways? I don't get it. The 3 printers make no sense on those figures. Unless they change some of the vehicle rules, the new rules, it could happen.
That could be.
But we'll have to wait and see.
Anyway, so there's been a lot of talk of this figure. As you can tell already, we're just trying to pick this apart and figure out what were you guys thinking. On top of the printing errors.
Yeah.
Both of these are actually vehicles. They have the vehicle symbol. And what was else? The Batwing's supposed to have flight.
Yep.
So, I mean, it really felt like they wanted to make this character awesome, and it just came out half-baked. Like, still gooey in the center, chocolate cake. It's just not any good.
I don't know. I think 45 points for a free vehicle is great. It's just, I wish they could have executed it better, because I feel like you have to play her, get the Pog, and then put something else in it. Like, I mean, even putting a Batman in it, it's not armor for him. He's losing 2 clicks by popping out of it.
1 to 2. Yeah, he's guaranteed 1 unavoidable, possible 2 if it blows up while he's inside of it.
But if you look at it, though, it gives him either sidestep or running shot.
And ESD with a 17 or an 18 with super senses and sidestep. So, I mean, they're offensively there, but you're going to be taking damage for it if they manage to hit you, is really what that's going to boil down to. there is the capability of, with the Batwing being able to carry somebody else around with sidestep for positioning. But I mean, I know a lot of a lot of players are looking at this figure going, okay,
How do I do this?
there's gold here, but where is it?
Yeah, it's hard to break down. It really is. I've never seen a figure make me think so hard.
Well, and I mean, with all the errors that we're just like waiting for this character to solidify overall, and now that it's pretty well been errated and clarified, now we're looking at it going, well, everything cool that it could have done, it can't do anymore. So I know somebody will break it, somebody will figure it out, somebody will run it, and end the world with it with 45 points, and then everybody else will copy it. So
We'll see.
until next time.
Speaking of chase figures who are busted out of the box and are going to be seen all over the map every single day of the week, we have number 49, Green Arrow. Gotham City, love it. Star City, great and martial artist. Improved targeting, sees through, hindering, elevated, and characters. Not the almighty blocking terrain, but hey.
Nick Fury. It's
a kryptonite arrow. That's what we got. So he also has the Dark Knight Returns trait called Not Hiding Anymore. When Green Arrow occupies clear terrain, he can use sidestep, and opposing characters can't draw lines of fire to him unless they are within 3 squares of him or he has 2 action tokens.
So you want him out in the open.
Yeah, he's not trying to hide. It's like, I'm up here on this rooftop, I'm going to shoot you with this arrow, and it's going to sting really, really bad. So, he also has a trait called It Still Hurts When It's Cold. So Green Arrow can't make range attacks when he has 1 action token. Now, his powers, if you look on the dial there, he has Leap Climb. So he's thematically trying to get up to a point to shoot, but he's old, only has 1 arm, and so
and it hurts when it's cold.
Because, in the story, it's snowing outside. So, yeah. He's out there. Now, he can't shoot the second turn he shoots, which is fine, but people have said, oh, I can just carry him. Something you can totally do. If he's in clear terrain, he does have sidestep, so you can kind of slowly but surely get him up to position as well. And now we're going to get to the meat and potatoes of why this figure is so great. Kryptonite Arrows, attack power for the first 3 clicks of this amazing dial for 80 points. When Green Arrow hits with a range attack, the hit target can't use defense powers until your next turn. The hit target has the Kryptonian keyword. If it has the Kryptonian keyword, also give it an action token. So he's meant to nix any kind of Kryptonians like Superman, Supergirl, the like. Fill in the blank here.
Zod.
Now, it has been ruled on this several times, and it's crazy how this is worded right now, and everything's kind of weird, but how it is, it only affects defense powers in the defense slot.
Yep.
Any other source, he does not stop. So if they're picking from a possessor, if they're taking it from a pickup power, they are still safe with those. Until the new rules clarify that somehow, some way, because possess and can't use will be... can use basically the same thing, so we're still waiting on that.
It'll be interesting.
It'll be fun to see.
I think the ruling will stay the same. It'll just be a power that's in the defensive slot.
They're going to change the wording for that to be something like that pretty easy. So if you look at the dial here, this guy has 8 range through all those things. 12 attack with basically nixing your defense power. So if you have a stop click in your defense power, gone. He does have RCE as well, so Range Combat Expert. He is shooting a 12-5 or a 14-3 if you feel you're going to miss.
And then you put WizKid next to him, so you don't even have to choose.
Ooh, or even the rare Doctor Strange for 1-1. Basically an extra little bit of a plus
or
there.
That Batman being able to perplex up everybody's attack values.
You got options, guys. Now, he is kind of a glass jaw. He does have reflexes, so if you can come up close to him, because that's within 3 squares when it has the 1 token, which you're going to try and keep him on 1 token, since he can't shoot again. And he has super sense the last 2 clicks with outwit and more 12-11 attacks. See, I see 12 and 11s, and I see the Templar Green Arrow. I'm like, what happened?
Hey, he's only got 1 arm, and he's better than the
I know! So, and he shoots with his
He's
mouth.
also a chase.
This is true. This is true. I'm just fighting it because I see Green Arrow. I think of him as I'm going to hit you because I can't miss, like him and Hawkeye. But I digress. This figure for 80 points of Colin, or even 80 points of playing him on your force, there are ways to make him just broken. Do you have anything you want to say
No, I
there,
think you've
Mike?
covered it all.
I'm
Did you
a,
cover the ID card call-in for him?
yes, I did.
Okay.
80 points of just say, hey, you have impervious. Now
No, you
you don't, and
don't.
now the rest of my team will also pick on you. From 8 squares away, guys. That's big.
All right. The next big boy that everybody is bubbling about.
He was a hot, crispy Benjamin on all the secondary
It's all about
markets.
those Benjamins, man. Number 50, Superman. Kryptonian metropolis politician, reporter. Real name, Kal-El. Trait, a symbol of authority and obedience. At the beginning of your turn, you may roll a d6. On 5-6, Superman's powers can't be countered, and his attack rolls can't be re-rolled by opponents until your next turn. On a 3 or 4, you may remove an action token from him.
Oh, look at that. Self-leadership on a mid-roll? That's pretty good.
And on 1, he can't be moved or placed until your next turn. That's okay. He's got 9 range. So at top value, he's 230 points. At lower value, he's 110. On his top value, he gets the movement power for his first 3 clicks. We must not remind them that giants walk the earth. He can use charge and stealth. If he began the turn occupying hindering terrain, don't half his speed value when using charge this turn. So that's an 11, 13 super strength, 19 invincible, 5 damage in Dom. Abuse it while you can until the new rules come through. That is 8 damage with an 11 full distance charge out of hindering with a 13 attack.
Ultra heavy object.
Ultra heavy. Just smash your face in.
And then new rules down to a 7. Boo-hoo. There's perplexes out there.
I know, right? So, that being said, for 230 points, his power that he has on his last 3 clicks is solar power stored by a suffering world. Give Superman a free action when he occupies printed outdoor hindering terrain. It's very specific. And roll a d6. Heal him half of the result and put a scoured marker in that square. Squares with scoured markers in them are considered clear terrain instead of hindering terrain for the rest of the game. So this is where those little special tokens you have can come into play. But he basically just says om nom nom grass, and I feel better.
Om nom nom grass.
I mean, come on. But I mean, at click 7, that could bring him back up to his 110 click starting click, which he start at on his lower value. Would start with charge, super strength, invuln 4 with shape change, drops into flurry, then picks up poison.
Yeah.
For some crazy reason.
Radiation, man. Heats up.
And then that special power to regen, and then Earthbound on his last 2 clicks, so he's getting kind of weak at that point. But
so go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think most everybody's gonna be playing him at 230 points just to wreck your day.
And if you are or are not even at the lower click dial, guess who is going to make a new home in Wakanda as the running joke? So +2 to his defense in that hindering he doesn't even care about because he moves right through it and sees right through it.
With 9 range.
With 9 range, and that map, in the middle of that map, is nothing but just hindering.
We're just gonna call him Jungle Man from now on.
Super Jungle Man?
No, just Jungle Man.
Just Jungle Man, huh?
Oh man! And then when you knock him down, oh hey, I'm just gonna reach out and eat a
tree.
A tree. Nom 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 nom. I'm good. Back to
man.
top dial. Blah.
It's gonna be pretty grody.
And when you're playing him at 230, if you hit that 7 on that click 7 with a 3 regen, that's gonna bring him up to his charge 11, 13 attack, 17 impervious with 4 damage.
And if you hit that plus that 656, he can't be probbed. So if you're gonna stick a hit, that's gonna be the time to do it for sure.
Ugh. Printed 13s. That's check, please.
All right, guys, that concludes the super rares and chases for this review. We have one last figure to cover: the Hourman LE. You can win at your local venue if you attended the release day events. Let's go ahead and cover him. He is Hourman, All-Star Squadron and Justice Society, number 100. Real name, Rick Tyler. So, he has a movement power and an attack power. The attack power is on his starting clicks. It's called Hour of Power. At the beginning of your turn, give Hourman an Hour token. When Hourman has 3 Hour tokens, turn him to click 9. Alright. On click 9, we have this new power. He has 11 attack with super strength, 18 with invincible, and 3 damage with combat expert. He is just punching you to death. Wow, with super strength, it's gonna be knockback damage too.
Mm-hmm.
And JSA to share them 17s, 18s he's got rocking around there. So revert to Rick. So AQUAMAN can use charge and sidestep at the beginning of your turn. When AQUAMAN has no hour tokens, turn him to click 2. So I was reading somewhere these things come off.
Yes. I think you missed it there.
Did I miss it?
It was, let's see, revert to Rick. He can use charge and sidestep. At the beginning of your turn, remove an hour token.
Okay.
When he has no hour tokens, turn him to click 2. So the clarification that's been released about this is because both of these happen during the beginning of your turn, where you would then give him an hour token if you've got the attack power, and if he has 3 or more tokens, you turn him to click 9. As soon as you turn him to click 9, it's still the beginning of your turn. You would then remove an hour token and to get him back down. So he will probably float right around 1 to 2 tokens, hour tokens I should say, at a time. So he's going to be bouncing back and forth. The thing here is he moves to click 2 and click 9. So when he's on click 9, he basically has 3 life. When he's on click 2, he has 3 life again. So you're always going to be operating this guy at 3 clicks for 50 points, but he's going to bounce back and forth between being a support, I'm going to hide in the shadows, to a charge sidestep, close combat expert, super strength, crazy defense.
Just punch you in the face.
It's just going to 2 ticks up, 2 ticks down, 2 ticks up, 2 ticks down.
Gotcha. So you're just going to dance in that zone until you get to and from those spots. I get you. So he builds it up, goes through it, back and forth. That's pretty cool. That's a nice little dial for 50 points.
Very interesting.
And he will blend well with the JSAs from Joker's Wild.
Absolutely, for 50 points.
He becomes one of your beaters for that team. We always kind of complain they always had just a little bit of damage, but now we got some big damage BD right here. So yeah, on those defensive clicks, guys, he does have just, Mike said, stealth or leap climb with reflexes and perplexer outwit. So definitely a supporting character there.
And keep in mind, if they hit you for 2 and you're on your last click, but then you switch over to click 9, you're basically back to click 1. They hit you for 2 again because you have invincible. You go back to click 2 when you run out of powers, and then you're back to taking 2 damage, flipping back over. So you're really going to have to pace it out with him. I would dare say put a Hulkbuster torso on him so that he has the invulnerable while he's on his weakened side, and then he switches over to the invincible, which is going to drastically reduce the amount of damage you're taking, and then flip back over to the other side. And unfortunately, Peace Machine will not save him because you could still thump him for 3 straight out.
Yep. Alright, guys. So that has been the super rare chase review for the Elseworlds DC set for the 15th anniversary of Heroclix. We do hope all this information has helped you in building teams for constructed play and tips for playing in sealed. And if you have any comments or questions about any of these figures, please leave them below. And we have a question for you guys. What is your absolute favorite figure from the entire set? We are curious to know. Let us know. We love to hear your guys' comments with the answer back and say, good pick and why. Always please answer why it's your favorite character as well. That your opinion and thoughts matter to us.
And everybody else. It's good to hear things that we may have not covered, or a reasoning that, we try and cover these from our point of view, but there's multiple ways of looking at figures and seeing what they can do.
And that's the best part about this game, guys. Remember, guys, like it, sub it, share it, and always remember,
strike first.